What you doing? What you doing? This is how you burn your feet. Not a good idea. She doesn't burn her feet. Like that's not a thing that happens. Well, I do remember when she was a kitten, there was a period of time where you'd be doing something over here, then also you'd hear, it's because she stepped on the stove, didn't know it was hot, went boom, ran off. But you learned your lesson, or did you? You're still standing on the stove. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. Whoa, that's some sun. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. It is an absolutely beautiful day. A good, I don't know, 10 days out from when this video comes out. I'll probably vlog most of the times. We're more up to speed on things. I'm thinking it's time to pull the frost cloth off of these laurels out there. They're gonna get really hot in those things. So I'd like to do that. I already pulled the ones off the needle palms yesterday. They're not looking too hot. Background, it was really cold here. Had to put bags over the laurel hedge and over my needle palms. That's the background. Got down to -6, and then it was like a -4 tonight. We had multiple nights below 0 Fahrenheit, and then a lot of nights below 10 Fahrenheit, where the days didn't even go above 20 or even above 15. It was, like a rough 14 days. And it's the worst I've ever seen my needle palms look. That just is what it is. I'm sure they'll be fine. I'll show you those. We'll get those bags taken off. And then there's some stuff I'd like to do out inside of my grow space. Mostly just some little repots and, little here and there tasks. We have approached another transitional time of year. What I mean by that is there's always a few times a year where a few weeks are going by and I'm like, well, we're in a transition period, so we just kind of got to do little tasks here and there. Moving from fall into winter, when I'm moving plants inside, it's just kind of a waiting game in September. Like, I don't want to start any big projects. I need to be more in maintenance mode and prep mode. We're basically there at this point. It's maintenance and prep mode for spring now. Heck, this forecast we have coming up is just glorious. Multiple days in the 50s. I think it's like 64 outside right now. It was -6. Just like 8 days ago? Crazy. I love it. Got new kick plates. Is that exciting? Probably not. They were wood, and they have these ornamental pieces that go on them in different spots. They're gonna have to get glued on. Ooh, I thought they were all labeled. They're not all labeled, but like this one right here, this is, I believe this goes right here. But centered like that. There is wood down there, and it just wasn't looking too hot, and my contractor goes, hey, why don't I replace that with some slate tile? And I was like, okay. I actually didn't even notice that the kick plates weren't looking too good, but he did. So, hey, okay, all right, that's nice. Only thing about it was he said, oh, but you gotta keep it dry for 24 hours, and wouldn't you know, had a flood. I was watering plants last night. I had the hose out here. And by the hose, I mean the aquarium gravel vac. I hook it to the laundry room in there, and I run it all the way out here to get to the greenhouse and water plants. And one of the couplers on it sprung a leak. I came inside after a good hour and a half of watering, and there was just water everywhere. Doesn't look like any damage was done. I'm gonna keep that fan going for a couple of days. Turbo, did you wanna come out, right? Right? It's such a nice day. Don't you wanna come out? Oh my gosh, it feels so good out here. I would really like to do some picking up. Everything's just disgusting. You have all that snow on top of everything, and it melts down and it makes it mushy. But I'd also like for things to dry up. Hey, the pool cover finally popped up. Last night that was still sunk down. Really far down. I'm worried there might be a leak in here. That cover was bowed way down. It only bows down to the water level, and the water level should have been much higher than where it was bowed down to it. That's something we can handle in a few weeks when we get the cover off the pool. That is a heat alarm. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh, it is really hot in there. I checked the sensors. It's 86. That's not like unheard of. Okay, I think it's probably time. This says 94. My sensor that's right next to this sensor says 86. That's interesting. Did you want out? By all means, there you go. After you, Turbo. But pop this guy open. That heater shouldn't be running. Neither one of them should be running. God, I don't even want to go in there. It's very warm. Very, very toasty. Oh, and nice and muggy because everything got a good water last night. This was very low on water. It had been a few weeks. Right before we had that snowstorm that came through, I gave everything a really big drink a few days before that came in, and then I'm sorry, that's not a great view. Because I figured, well, it's going to be a while till I can water it, because I'm not going to want to run that hose out here with all that snow and ice and everything. So, yeah, things got a little drink just from me dipping the watering can into the pond there, but Not much. Whew, wow. That is warm. I'm gonna raise the roof up in here because I have that lowered down. I don't think that that's gonna visually make much of a difference for you guys, but I think it would be smart to have some more height there for, you know, better air distribution. That hot air can rise further. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to that other one though. This one right here is pretty easy. Just do one of these. Get over here. Oh, there's a pot there. All right, well maybe I can do it from back here. Nope, can't do that. Get your toe in right there and then left. Okay, let's go up one more notch. If it'll let me, there's a lot of tension here. There we go. Those are like 6 inches. Oh, but it did make a big difference. I like that. Okay, and now that side's up. I know it's not much, but even an extra 6 inches I think would be helpful to everything. And well, I'm gonna have to find a fan to hook up to this thing. 'Cause this thermostat that I use in here, it has a heating and cooling mode. So when it gets too hot, that'll kick the fan on. 84 and 86, neither one of those are temperatures that concern me. But you know, it's good to know. It doesn't need to be that warm in here. That's totally unnecessary. You don't need that kind of warmth. That just makes the bugs go crazy. Give you your turn. Yeah, the radishes are slow to go. There's just not enough light. Not enough light to get them going. This time of year, we're having... actually, I don't know. I was going to say how long the day lengths are, but I'll leave that up like this. I'm all like that. Problem is I don't want the dog to be able to run in and out because he might knock one of those heaters over. And they are good about staying off. Let's leave that cracked. If they get knocked over. Sun's setting around 5:30 right now. When is it coming up? I don't know. I'm asleep. Head up when the sun comes up. All right. Gonna have to figure something out there. Hi. Gonna take more than a zipper to keep Turbo from being able to go see his fish. Oh my gosh, that breeze is absolutely amazing. The sun feels good too. I have on shorts. Because, you know, this feels like a beach vacation. We're 70 degrees warmer than we were last week, so it feels great. Heck, it was like 30-something the other day, and I was still running outside in shorts. Not like doing things, but if I had to run out real quick, I didn't put on pants. I just stuck it up for a few minutes. It didn't feel that bad because got acclimatized. I got acclimated. So, oh, the laurels. That's important. I got to do that. The only reason I sat over there was something like, oh, look, I watered everything. It's not that exciting. This needle palm, look at it. Look at it. Remember it, because I'll probably forget to show it again before I show you the other ones that don't look so good. Very wet. Everywhere is wet. Huh. It looks pretty good. It is very warm in here, though. Sun's not on them, so that helps. I'm inside the bag with the shrub. Yeah, don't want to cook them, right? Got to make sure you take these off in time. You don't want to leave them on for too long. Don't want to take them off too early either. But the next 10 days, the coldest temperature I'm seeing is like, I don't know, 28, 27. The laurels, that's no problem. We're about covering them until we're going below 0. Huh. I don't know. I think they look okay. It means nothing. It means nothing that they look okay right now. We'll find out in several weeks. When I lost my last hedge, they looked pretty good. After I had uncovered them, and then it was like, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks later, they just went on a steep decline, and then they died. So, I just gotta hope for the best. I am not replacing this hedge ever again. They're too expensive, and they just haven't been hardy enough. I didn't want a privacy hedge that was going to require me to put bags over them during the winter time. You shouldn't have to. They're supposed to be hardy to zone 5, which, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just calling bullcrap on that. There's no way. No way. I don't buy it. If I lose them when it drops below 0, how are they hardy to zone 5? That's negative 20. Maybe different growing conditions. Y'all let me know. Do you live in zone 5? Are you having great luck with your skip laurels? Yeah, this is better though. Get them uncovered. I was going to say before things get too hot and there's too much of a drastic change, but well, that ship sailed. Sable minors look okay. It's going to be similar to what we talked about with those skip laurels, where, you know, just kind of got to give it time. Sometimes they look fine, and it takes a few weeks for their damage to show. I mean, for example, this one right here was unprotected, and it's got some leaf burn. It doesn't look too hot. This one over here had a box over it. Looks pretty good. This one doesn't look that much worse than that one, but I can guarantee you in several weeks, there probably won't be a leaf left on it. All right, the needles. This is rough. This is real rough. I've never had them coming out of the bags looking like this before. This is the same thing I've always done. Didn't change anything up, just 2 bags and some lights when it dropped below 0. And I took them off relatively early too. I didn't want them to get really hot inside those bags, so. Yeah, well, it's gonna take a while, but they will come back. They will rebound, just, you know, it's gonna take like, I don't know, 5-10 years. Main objective is to keep everything on the inside nice and happy. I wanna make sure that these center growths in here, that I keep seeing those bright, oh, almost dropped you guys, sorry. See those fans coming up out of the middle? Want to make sure that those keep moving. Hit them with a copper-based fungicide when it's warm enough. The Baby Grand Baby Grand Magnolia, totally fine. 100% looks good. This was rated as a zone 7, right? I believe, yeah. Zone 7 to 9, 0 to 10 degrees, 8 to 10 feet tall and wide. Awesome. Awesome hybrid magnolia. I don't see any damage. I did put a bag over it, but I don't know if I needed to. I only took the bag down like halfway. That lower growth wasn't in one. It was also nestled between these two, which had bags on them. That helps. This part of the house gets really harsh, cold, dry north winds, which is why I bagged these needle palms. I don't understand. Make it make sense. How come some of these look totally fine? And others are just fried. I don't think this is cold. I think this is heat. Heat and moisture. That ground got so cold, these guys weren't pulling up any water, and then it got really hot inside those bags, probably. Even though, I mean, the warmest day before I took it off was like 44. That's all it takes. Inside those bags, the sun beats on, it can get really, really hot. And the ground's all moist, or not moist, frozen, and they can't get to the moisture. That's a recipe for disaster. Now this needle palm, which y'all never see because it's always hidden, it looks, well, it doesn't look great. But I've never protected this one, ever. I mean, because it has natural protection from everything over here, so I don't ever bother with that. Well, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens with it. And then this one, I did nothing to, I almost said record, because my camera just let me know that the audio is being recorded. I had to switch out batteries. Yeah, this one right here, I haven't protected it in years. I may have thrown buckets or something over it, but it's reached a size where I just don't feel like it. I've had it since it was really, really little. I just expect it to be more hardy, and it is. It's in a spot where the snow melts fairly quickly. It does stick out, though. It's on a corner. I don't know how well that shows, but it juts out from everything else. So it's not as protected as it would be if it were, say, back over in there. Still no protection. There's going to be a leaf burn. I'll probably see some dieback on it, but I don't know, it looks a lot better than those ones where that I protected, doesn't it? That's why I'm saying it's got to be from the bags. They got cooked in there. I have more needle palms back here. Well, I had needle palms up. Apparently I only have needle palm now. One little guy right here. This is not that little. It has spread out quite a bit. It hasn't put on much height, but anyways, there's that one. No protection. This area, it's pretty solid. Although I guess not solid enough for the Poncirus. So that's probably the same situation. It probably gets really warm back here, and with that frozen ground, they can't pull up water. Oh well. But I don't know, because the needle palm looks fine. So this may have just been I don't know, it might just be bad luck. That happens sometimes. So those are very, very hardy trees. I got it in the ground kind of late in the season, so I don't know. See how that one's looking in the spring. But yeah, those, my main thing is, look at the difference here between this one and those ones over there that are all dried up and crusty looking. More isn't always better, right? As far as stuff to do outside goes, it's really not much, because I want things to dry up some more, because everything's just, it's just, you know, squishy, very squishy. I'm starting to have that urge where I'm like, okay, all right, I want to go to the nursery, I want to get some pansies, I want to pop some bulbs and things. I'm ready for color, which probably means I should put away the Christmas decoration. Whatever, it's colorful, it makes me happy. It's not colorful, it's bright. It has a really warm light in it that just is soothing, and I don't know, in my mind, that's the same thing as colorful. I don't have to understand what I'm saying. It makes sense to me. Yeah, from looking at our forecast, I mean, I'll know a lot more by the time this video comes out, but that's not for another 10 days. It's looking like we're going to make it until February 18th with pretty mild temperatures. I'm debating bringing the windmill palm back out. I just don't know. February is such a freaking roller coaster weather-wise. But usually when we have these warm spells, it's for like 2 days, not 10. You know what I mean? It's so hard to move that windmill palm. It's gotten very, very big. Once it's in there, I prefer to just leave it there until it's time to bring it back out. And it's producing an inflorescence right now, which I should really probably just cut off of it. It's not doing anything for it. I don't have another one for it to pollinate with, but it looks cool. But that's not a good reason to leave it on there, so I should do something about that. I do miss having the palm tree there, but I don't know, I should probably wait at least until this weekend to make that decision. Maybe by the time this video comes out, I will have decided, and maybe it'll be back out here. I don't know. From February up until mid-March, weather can still be pretty horrible. We'll have snow sometimes in late March and April. There have been plenty of first days of springs where it was snowing, but it's not dreadfully cold, right? We're typically above 15 to 20 once we get about to mid-March and on, and I don't have to worry about the sharp drops or ice, you know what I mean? The ice storms and everything. And that's really, I mean, that's just like 2.5, 3 weeks away. So, but I want to do it. Okay, that's enough sitting and blabbing. Let's go inside to the grow space, and I think I got some stuff I need to repot. There's all kinds of just little things that need to be done. Mostly pruning and repots and probably some rearranging. Oh, wait. Almost forgot. You can turn the fountain back on. Can we? Is that something that can be done? Oh, you gotta cycle through this timer there. There we go. That should have turned it on. Nice. That's always a nice feeling. Have the sound of running water outside again. Really just, it sets the tone, right? You know what I mean? Makes everything so much more pleasant and relaxing. I topped this off last night. I'm gonna have to add more though, because when I pulled this piece off, the rest of it had to come off. This is never a one-handed job. Oh, that would have been amazing. Oh, it's gentle. Just a gentle trickle. Can you hear it? Let me lean in. Can you hear it? I got my mic over it. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm going to have to go with more water. I feel like that pump's also dirty, because even though it is a gentle trickle, it should be a little bit stronger. Also, I have some, what do you call them? You know, shims to put under here to level this back out properly. Although, well, that's actually pretty good. That's not something that should self-correct itself, but this thing has been off kilter for quite some time, and now it seems fine now. Oh, that's so nice. This is a heater, just to keep the water a little bit extra warm when it gets cold at night. As long as it's over like 28 to 30, I let it run. Even when it's like 32, it doesn't usually freeze. That water is moving. We've got this little guy in there, and that really does make a big difference. Okay, now, I'm gonna go inside and do some stuff in the grow space. I need the palm tree back. It's bugging me. It's been 3 days since whatever you saw prior to this, and I've been watching the forecast and like seeing some lows are like 30, and that's fine. It can drop down to 10. No big deal. It's possible it'll keep happening. I don't know. Generally, once we get towards March, I think I mentioned this before, we're usually above 15, and I have lights on the trunk. And the contractor has gotten a lot of the tools out of the garage, so I could pull it out, and getting it back in the garage would be nowhere near as big of a deal, because I can just push in through the big garage door and let it lay on its side. Because it only need to be in for a few days at a time. I mean, at this point, right? As long as this forecast stays true for the next 10 days, and whatever comes after that, any cold fronts will probably be no more than like 4 to 5 days of that extreme cold, and hopefully there won't even be any of that. I need to do it. Okay, I did it. It had to be done. Although I am going to wait. I'm going to hold off on putting it back over here. Another reason I thought, hey, this is a good time to go ahead and do this is because they're here working on things in the house. That garage door has been open as long as it's over 50. I said you can open that door, and it's fine. So this has been getting more exposure the last few days to some cooler temperatures. So I was like, yeah, I can bring it out without it being terribly shocked. Right? So sometimes that's what happens is once I take this in, and it's in that 75 to 85 degree garage for more than a few days, it adjusts to that, and then moving it back outside to where it's dropping into the 20s and teens at night, well, that's just too much. But yeah, it's been in the mid to lower 70s in there with lots of very cold 50 to 45 degree drafts blowing on the last few days. So I said, okay, let's just do it. If it gets really cold again, then I can just slide it on in the garage and the big side of the door. It's a lot easier to do that. Getting this out was not easy. Look at it. Look at how beautiful this palm tree has gotten. I love it so much. My voice is cracking a lot today. I don't know what that's about. The air is very dry. Look at these inflorescence. Aren't they just beautiful? So cool. It really put on a show this year. It's got a lot of stuff coming out. Yeah, I move it inside every year, and it gets a few days of warm, and it's just like, I'm going to put all parts out. Let it all flap around in the air. Now that it's outside, it's probably not going to do as well, and those will fall off. I really should cut them off to preserve energy. The plant doesn't need to be devoting all, I mean, I was going to say all of, not all, but the bulk of its energy is going to go to these gigantic inflorescence, right? And there's no reason. Other than it looks cool, there's no reason to keep those on the plant. I don't have another one here for that to pollinate with, so it just looks cool. But really, I should go grab my clippers and cut those off, which I will do. But I'm going to wait until I get some pictures. I want to take photos. Maybe there'll be some clouds tomorrow. Wouldn't that be pretty? The palm tree with some clouds. I'll try and edit out the houses in the background and be like, oh, look, my palm tree's reproductive pieces. Anyways, okay, that's better. That itch has been scratched. Now, go. I don't know. There are things I want to do outside. I have the bug, but I'm telling myself, go do things inside. But there are things I need to do out here, too. Look at that. Look at that. Still warm. It's not hot, but still warm. These things are never warm when they show up. Let's see here. It's not like hot, but, well, I swear, it feels warmer than that. Is it just my imagination? Well, I mean, there's a tinge of heat. We're just on the front porch, which is 44, so it's doing something. Got some new plants. I know. We said we were going to do something else. Actually, I think I said I didn't know what we'd be doing. So here we are. These just happened to show up right when I was coming inside. I know. You probably want to know what it is. Pumpkin. Hi. Hi. How you doing? Oh, that's nice. Give everybody a sniff. That's so nice, Pumpkin. Anyways, yeah, things are messy. Valentine's Day. Yeah, no, I put this one together. Kind of nice, little uneven. Need some more stability in the middle to keep it looking right. But I just love these roses. Aren't they pretty roses? Really nice. Don't remember what they're called. I just thought they were good. It's a good little color throwing there. Look at this is what I got. Some Vandacious orchids. I'm filling the sink up right now with just some tepid water. A little bit of fertilizer because they've just been shipped, so they need to, they need a big drink. These are a thirsty orchid that don't like to dry out for too terribly long, and that they were just in a box. Yeah. They're okay. They're okay. I got these off Etsy. There's a seller called Mad Happenings. That's where I order a lot of my Vandacious type orchids from, and it's been years since I did the Vandacious orchids. I stopped growing them back in 2020. Because they're a lot, and I had some health, so there's, the cancer. I had the cancer, and family had to step in and take over taking care of the plant collection. I was like, you know what, or don't worry about them. Just let them go. If you want to water them, you can, but just no pressure. And they didn't make it, which doesn't matter. I'm not upset about it, never was, don't care. Plants are replaceable. I didn't die. That's what I care about. And I thought, just recently, I was like, well, it might be fun to get back into those. I had grown them for a very long time, many years, and I'd gotten to a point where I did have probably too many. I had to set up an entire pulley system in the grow space to raise and lower them into the water to give them a soak. I would prefer to just stick with ones that I really like. So I went with some of the classics that were my favorites. There's a Chuli Classic, which is a pink flower with some white flecking in it, and it's a really good bloomer. And then a Pachara Delight, which is just, another nice big flowered one that blooms very reliably. It just has a spike on it. This one is a Tessellata Dr. Anik, which is, it's another pink flower. So these three are all pink. I'll get another Pachara or two because they bloom. They just bloom and bloom and bloom. They're really strong bloomers, so they're going to have around a big purple flower on them. And then, I don't know, that might be it. I don't want too many of these. There's 3 right here. So if I get there's a couple more, that's a lot. They take up a lot of space. I may go ahead and try and... That's gross. That's gross. Let me put these in this one. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, the machine's right here. Put them in there. Don't know why people just leave them in the sink. Wasn't that complicated, was it? Typically, you don't grow them in a container. You can move them into a container, but there's a transition period and a learning curve. I've never tried it before. But I don't know. I might. Maybe I'll get some more and try them in a container. I've grown some of those smaller type Vandacious orchids. If you don't know what I'm saying when I say Vandacious orchid, these orchids have this really nice monopodial growth. Come straight up, and their roots just dangle. Like they'll dangle many feet well, not all, but the majority of the orchids that we grow as houseplants are epiphytic, and these are like the ultimate epiphytes. Lots and lots and lots of roots. I think that they should do well out there in the grow space. I haven't tried them since we have that new heater, but the humidity's been better out there and everything. Although spider mites are just starting to show back up, so that's a whole thing. It's supposed to be pretty nice this week, though. The cold temperature's like 40. So I might actually pull some of the larger plants out, get the water set up outside so I can spray everything down more efficiently. That's neither here nor there. Right now, these are having a soak. They're fun to have around. They just have a really cool, exotic appearance to them. I'm just going to be hanging these around. And during the summer, you know, I usually have them hanging from trees or from the light poles, which you can kind of see. See? Light pole. From the palm trees, things like that. The Vandaceous types. The broader the leaf, the less this is true, but they can take a lot of sunlight. So, you know, I would typically have them in afternoon shade, unless they have a really thin leaf on them. The terretes and the semi-terretes, or quarter terretes and semi, I don't know. It's been a while, but yeah. Morning sun, afternoon shade, dappled light, and you just spray them down with the hose every day. You give the roots a big, big drink. And with these, growing them indoors, I'll probably be giving them a soak like this. I'm going to say twice a week for the first few weeks, because they have a big adjustment to make. They've gone from growing outdoors in Florida to, well, having to go indoors part of the year, outdoors another part of the year. So typically when I get them, I water them very, very frequently, then I slowly start to step off to a point where when they're indoors, they're getting a heavy drink from just spraying water on the roots like once a week. In a situation like this, though, since they've just been shipped, they're getting a nice soak. Probably give them 15, 20 minutes to have a soak. And that'll be it for the next several days. Okay, that's all. Sorry, that was probably really loud. This faucet here, it likes to move, so it wanders that way, so I have to put the hose down in there to keep it in place. Yeah, okay, that's good. Look how great that water pressure is. It's been 5 minutes and this is barely halfway full. All right, I'm going to clean up and then might go do something. I just did a very, very, very heavy watering out there in the grow space. And, well, I need to just probably let things be for a few days, which is fine. It's Valentine's Day. I got plans this weekend, but we'll pick up and, like I said before, do something. It's like the 5th time I've said that. What do you want? What do you want? Why are you bugging me? What do you want? I know. We'll go outside. We'll go outside. Hold on. Oh! Camera's on. And the wrong way. That's not a good angle. I'm sorry. After also not a great angle. There we go. That's just a bad shot. That's all that was. Made it through the weekend. I was gone all weekend. So there are a few little things to catch y'all up on. Normal, we had a weekend kind of things. Look at, aren't they beautiful? My guess that's it. I was gonna say, hey, let's look at all the plants, but you see them, right? A couple of beautiful Peperomia obtusifolias, variegated ones, different forms of variegation. So it's just a green on green, the more of a cream and white variegation. This beautiful Petunia. Can I get you out of here? Can I get you out? It's a little bit jammed in there. Like when the nurseries put the little pet safe sticker on the pots. That's good. Good to do. Good to let people know. Makes it easier for people to shop. And just go, oh, well, that's safe for my pet. Nifty. Okay, there's that variegated one. You can better look, right? Nice, big, sturdy plants. So I have had some issues finding good Peperomia obtusifolias. They're always scraggly. And even these, I'm like, yeah, these are a little bit better. The problem is these guys oftentimes seem to be, this is just my experience over the last couple of years, underdeveloped when they're going out to the nurseries. That's what I was going to say. They seem to be underdeveloped. So there's just a lot of looseness in the plant. It's almost as if like, hey, let's take a cutting, pop a few leaves off, stick it in a pot and ship it out maybe 6 weeks later. And that's just not quite long enough, I think, for these guys. So I've told myself no more buying these guys unless I can find some that seem nice and full and have signs of new growth. And these have new growth on them. And they said they had had them for a while. So I was like, all right, let's give them a try. They're so prone to rot if you don't buy them when they have an establishment to them. It's just, they're so likely to just go, ugh, and just die. What's the point in that? Why? Just give the plants longer to establish themselves. I'll get to the Petunia. Look at this guy. Not the biggest, healthiest looking plant, but I just liked it. Look at that foliage. A little bit raggedy and janky, but it's nice. Nice colors and everything. This is a begonia. It's a escargot, which have really, really, really neat, escargot. They have really neat foliage on them. These leaves, they'll get bigger than this, and the plant will hopefully one day be much more full than this, and they get a spirally pattern, which you can sort of see in here. Not much of it yet, but as it puts up more leaves and gets larger, there'll be lots of those big spirally leaves. Just a fun one. I'm gonna set this back here on that heat mat. In fact, it's probably gonna go back there into that greenhouse, just like this guy right here. Look at that. That's like electric lime green. Aren't those colors just amazing? That's a beautiful plant. Petunia ruby lime. It's Alba Venus Petunia. So nice small leaves. Really excellent to have inside of your terrariums. Make a decent enough houseplant. I would recommend a self-watering container for these guys. Or even maybe just like an African violet pot, which is self-watering, but it's not the wicking type. I just have better luck with them that way. Or put them under a dome. And then they're like almost bulletproof. Just don't forget to give them their occasional water. Don't let them dry out, but it takes a long time to dry out if you have them under a dome, like a cloche or something like that. So pretty. Such nice coloring on this one. The ruby lime's not terribly hard to come by. It's a fairly common one, but I just like this one. It was so big and so full. And I was at a local nursery, and I feel bad because I can't remember its name. I had never been there before. They're in the city off of Grand, I think. I'm gonna try and remember the name. I'm gonna see if I can figure it out. Garden District STL. I had to go back to my email where they sent the receipt. It's a nice place. It's, you know, very much gift shop. Lots and lots of things from local artists and people who make like soaps and candles and things. And they had a good amount of plants and really pretty pots too. It was crowded enough. It wasn't that crowded, but it was a small enough space that I just was like, I can't film in here. This feels really weird. So I didn't. But those are the plants I got. All the plants they had looked very, very healthy. I suggest you check them out. This guy. Oh, this guy. Always with the water. This thing needs so much water. Actually, everything right now does. The sun's been really strong. I'm watering everything in this window every couple of days at this point. Yeah, actually, on that note, I would like to free up some more space in this window as I set more plants in it that I keep buying. Cool plants that I have a use for. I've wanted to, I guess, give some background here. I've wanted to get back into having more house plants around the house because, you know, all my house plants go out there into the grow space. And that mostly is going to mean like tabletop plants for me because, you know, these two. Got thing 1 and thing 2 over here. More the kitten than pumpkin, you know, because they treat the pots like a letterbox. I put pine cones in the tops of the pots and that helps a ton. But with the new floors and everything, and, you know, doing the drainage dishes around, you know, I have that space. Why would I bother with the big plants inside, right? Although, on that note, lots of ADD going on here. It's early, so my brain is doing the thing where I'm winding up to, oh, these are things I could do today. 1, I'm going to put a few more plants in this greenhouse. 2, I'd like to pull some of these plants out of this window that can go maybe to the bathroom upstairs. It's a cooler space. Succulents do really well in there. It's a north-facing window, and they can just hang out there for a few weeks. And then I was thinking I might pull my foxtail palm out from the garage into the drive. I'm going to check that forecast again, though. But only want to do it if it could stay out there for about 4 days or so. It needs a lot of spraying. Has a lot of mealybugs on it. And the foxtail palms are just, oh, they're a nightmare when they get covered in mealybugs. But before I move on, I need to show you the last plant. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at it. That's a bad place to set it. Isn't it cool? I don't know. Cristata of some sort. Spaganzii. Monvelli Spaganzii. I can't remember. It didn't have a tag. The people at the nursery said it was a fairy castle cactus, which it's not. But I could see why they would think that. Really cool succulent. There are several that look like this. So it's a little bit hard to pinpoint, but I think it's very pretty. Look at it. It just has so much character, and it's still got some floof on it from when they shipped it up there. That's fine. That can stay there. Really, really pretty. Look at that. It's like an ocean creature. I don't really like to buy plants that often if I don't know what it is, but with this I was like, yeah, that thing's pretty cool. That's a neat looking succulent. You should probably just go ahead and get it, right? I'm glad I did. But this is a good space. You guys, some of y'all might be able to tell me what you think it is. Because I'm not quite sure. There are several where I'm like, yeah, it could be that, but it might not be. So I don't know. But there's the cristata part, cristata being those crests that are up there. And then it's got the The long parts, which make me think of, you know, like the Senecio or the pickle cactus. But I think the Spiganzii is probably right. Spiganzii cristata. So I think it's Monvillii, something like that. Spiganzii cristata. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to bother typing out when I don't even know, but y'all let me know. And when we figure it out, maybe we can pot it up and do a video and talk about whatever we'll figure out. What you barking at? What's going on? There's nothing there. What are you barking at? You just really want to go outside? I can understand that. I wouldn't mind going outside. It's a nice day. Okay, I've been beckoned. We're going to go outside for a few minutes, come back in, maybe do a little bit of rearranging and move some succulents out this window and try and remember to get that foxtail palm pulled outside too. Okay, everything's changed. I was outside, I pulled the foxtail palm out and we've got some trouble. Have you lost your enthusiasm? Window is no longer a priority. Oh, good, we came out just in time for an airplane to pass over. Bit early for this, but I need to get my water set up out here. Typically, don't turn the water on until mid-March, whenever risk of freeze is over. I think I'm just gonna set up with a quick connect. Smart, something I should have done years ago. Never did, but should have. Really rethinking this hydrangea that I planted right in front of everything now. The idea with this was that, oh, well, the hydrangea is gonna go like 8 feet tall and I'll just limit up from about, 3 feet down, have some openness to it. That'll take a couple years, which is fine. So for a few years, I'll have to just reach around it. But it decided to grow this way instead of that way. So just none of it matters. That's a hibiscus. That doesn't need to be here. I could have thrown that out with the fall stuff. Didn't mean to leave that there. Yeah, it's reaching. Which everything was fine until late July. And then the plants go, oh, we got to grow this way. But what's odd is that the hydrangea's like, I'm going to grow this way. But it's going this. What's going on? Y'all are a bunch of a-holes messing with my mind. So, quick connect. I don't know what the spigots are like at your house. At my house, these spigots are very low to the ground, just about a foot off the ground, and it is a monumental pain in the butt attaching them and taking them off and attaching them and taking them off. So, I'm going to put a quick connect on there, and that will make things easier. So that when we have another freeze, which we will, in a few days, I mean, really in like 5 or 6 days, it's supposed to be about 30, something like that. We have a low of 27, sometimes in 10-day forecast. I'll probably want to, open that up and disconnect the hose and make sure that this is open, because I don't think this is one of the quick connects that has a check valve in it. That's something that I had to keep in mind, right? So sometimes you have a quick connect that has an auto stop on it, so that when you disconnect something from it, it still closes back shut so water doesn't trickle, which is a nice feature when you're using a hose. These don't have that. These are actually relatively cheap. I get these in a 4-pack off of Amazon. These are the Eden Quick Connects. Going over so many random things here I don't need to be going over. I like these because, well, one, they're inexpensive. They rotate, which is nice. And I don't have to worry about making sure I'm matching metals. I learned a few years ago, actually I think it was from one of you in the comments section, because I kept having issues where my hoses would fuse together. One of you explained to me that you got to match your metals. If you don't match your metals, then they've become one, and that's just the way they are from that point on. So I just switched to using plastic. Downside is I do have to replace them generally every year or two. I had some where they got cracked, usually because of my fault. I dropped the hose or something like that. I've used metal and brass for such a long time, I forget that I can't just drop them, right? So there is that, but it's just better for prolonging the life of my hoses, because when those pieces crack on the hose, I can only cut them so many times. Putting in new pieces, I have a 1-inch hose where it's useless, so I can find a coupler for it. So yeah, plastic. Eden, that's the brand, just from Amazon. I don't know why I was thinking I'd be able to get in here and actually film this process, because there's nowhere to put you, I'm sorry. Why I'm doing this will make sense in just a minute, I promise. Oh my gosh, that was so much easier. Doesn't mean water isn't gonna go spraying all over the place. That's the issue. It's an odd angle, so it's hard to get that piece on having water going all over. This is probably gonna be really stiff and hard to work with, isn't it? And the water that comes out's not gonna be warm, so this is not ideal. But gotta do what we gotta do. You're stuck already? Yeah, well, it's all tangled up. Let me just show you what's going on. Oh, never mind. We're going to wait a minute. There's missionaries on my neighbor's front porch. It's going to be awkward. I need to go over to the driveway. Wonder what'll happen. Okay. I need to turn the water on. Forgot that important step. We're getting close-ups of walls because you don't get to see the state of my basement. Oh, it's actually not so bad. But it's nice there to be some mystery. It's where I have a lot of my old fish tank supplies stored. Christmas over here. Man, the ADD is strong today. I just came down here to turn on water. We're gonna be here forever looking at like old sumps and aquarium lighting. And then the rest of the storage back here have things on top of pallets here. This is why it's a pain in the ass. I have to turn this water on and off. Then I climb back here into this corner. There we go. It's not that bad. The other one for the other side of the house, that one's a pain in the butt. I'm not turning that one on anytime soon. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be down here. She knows it too. As soon as I came around the corner, she said, I'm out of here. No cats in the basement. Oops, forgot to open up the hose. That's an important part of this. Gotta let everything out. Burp the, uh-oh, okay. There we go. Okay, see? So like that's part of the quick connect. You have to replace that. That's pretty bad. They didn't do that last year. So, you know, they got 2 years out of that. Probably, you know, if I took it off during the wintertime too, I bet it wouldn't have done that. All right, so that needs to sit. I oiled it so I can get the quick connect off. In the meantime, another side project. This vine's gotta go. It's honeysuckle and it's been overeaten by an invasive and I'm tired of dealing with it, so just get rid of it, right? It'll be a beautiful view of just all kinds of nastiness behind the fence when it's done. I guess it's too much. I don't know if I like it. It's a lot of change. But it's for the better. It needed to be done. Had to come in here and get some fresh air and get that dopamine going, you know? Look how nice the snapdragons are doing. That's not what we're doing right now. I said it had to be done. You can see my pot pile now, but it had to be done. So that was a major wheeler honeysuckle, which I love. And that was the hard part about this. I've had that vine for a long time. Got it right when it hit the market. Well, a few years after. It took a while to get a hold of it, but I used to have them up here on this hill on a trellis that eventually broke, and it was just 2 poles. The sun went away, and I transplanted one of them. Well, actually, I transplanted both of them to each side of the fence, but only this one survived. It was doing wonderfully. It was so pretty. But the clematis came in and just ate it. That was an invasive clematis. It wasn't one that I planted. It's a, what is it called? Sweet autumn clematis. It's a Japanese type. And it's not a great one to have around because they just, well, they destroy everything that they can get a hold of. That's dramatic. They're not horribly hard to control as long as you really stay at it. And I stayed at it for most of the year. And eventually I just got to a point where I just threw my hands and said, I don't know what to do here. Because it was vining inside of my vine. So I couldn't really get it at the source, down at the root. And I was starting to do damage to the honeysuckle. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to have to just let it do its thing and then just get rid of all of it. Never fun to do, but needed to be done. And hey, look, now we have a spot to plant things. Yay. Love my enthusiasm there. Actually, I was thinking I might put the white bird of paradise here. That might be nice when that comes back from the greenhouse. That thing's huge. And it could use a little bit more sun than it was getting where I kept it before. Yeah, I don't know. But really what I need to do is just make sure probably this year, just leave this spot open so I can keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. So there's going to be a lot of that this spring. Okay, so hope you enjoyed the side quest. Now back onto the drama. I've been busy. Very, very busy. So I pulled the foxtail out because, well, I do that. You need some background, don't you? Okay, so usually every February we have good enough weather to go ahead and pull some of the plants out, let them have a few days of natural light and airflow, and spray. They always need spray. Mostly this side of the garage, things are just, they're together. And when you have things together, you start to have bug issues, right? So, pulled the foxtail out because I'd seen a few mealybugs on it and thought, all right, well, that'll be easier to handle outside. When I pulled the foxtail out, which just had a few mealybugs on it, really not so bad. You can still see the remnants of them on here. Well, actually, you probably can't, but they're there. That's not a lot. They're just a few, right? But you don't want to let them get out of control ever, especially inside of a foxtail palm, because there's just so many places for them to get into, and it makes life hard trying to get rid of them when they're inside of all those nooks and crannies. When I pulled it out, a side of the croton was revealed that was up against the foxtail that was, I think, the most mealybug infested I've ever seen on any plant ever. Drama, again, that was dramatic, but it's up there. I'd say like, I don't know, my top 5 that I've ever seen. Absolutely covered. Only in the spots where it was touching the foxtail palm. That's the thing, right? The plants do need the airflow, and that's why it is good, you know, to go ahead and pull them out and actually have good looks at them when I have the opportunities. So that's what I've been doing. I had cleaned it out and pulling the leaves out from the bottom. Got to get all this out. That's important. because there's mealybugs on these too. So I get all the leaf litter out from down here so that I can apply a new systemic, which it hasn't been that long since it had a systemic, but clearly that's not doing anything. So there's the pile of things that have fallen down. Mealybugs all over these. Look at these. Look at it. There's some debris I've left in here so I can show you, because I ended up just having to go to town on this. I was like, I can't really wait to film this. It's got to get done because I only have a few days to do all this before these have to go back into the grow space. And look at that. Ugh, nasty. So that got to spray with the imidacloprid product right here called Sayonara, which is empty. It emptied itself, apparently. What? All right, well, I'm out of that. Okay, I used a little bit of it yesterday, and the plan was to alternate. So I was going to use that one yesterday, and today I was going to use, or that one's not imidacloprid. I was going to use the imidacloprid today, the Sayonara yesterday, and then tomorrow back to, I was going to alternate them for 4 days because you miss pieces, right? There's only so much you can get at one time. You've got to rotate them and get them into the tops and bottoms and underneaths, and they move around and everything. Hey, Turbs, you got to get out of there. We got to wash your feet now. We got to wash your feet. Come on. Out. Come on. Come on. All right, hold on. I got to go wash the dog's feet. Okay. Turbo has been washed very thoroughly. Sprayed his feet out. I've never had one of those bottles do that before. It's just, there's a puddle. So anyways, that's what I've been doing. I'm going to alter it for the next few days. That is a lot. I'm risking a lot by doing that. It can be too much for the plants. It can burn them. The alternative is to just keep doing the safe natural thing, which doesn't work for mealybugs. It works for spot treatment. This was beyond just like spot treatment. This really, it needed a lot. So it gave me the opportunity. This is the other reason I like to pull plants out in February. So I can pull things out. I've already swept. I know it doesn't look like, but I actually have already swept in here. I can come in and clean out the underbrush of things I just leave under the palm trees because, oh, they might make it. You never know. Then a few months later, they're dead. And I go, okay, well, let me cut those out now. And then I can get just better views of things. Like I can see I have this foxtail frond in here. I had to prune off. I can get to that more easily right now. And I have a few days to do all of this. The spraying, that's a daily chore, right? But as far as the little cleanings and things goes, that's not that big a deal. It's just some pruning, some cleanup. And when I'm done with the cleanup part, the floor in here gets bleached. This whole perimeter gets bleached with a diluted bleach. And then Friday, these are coming back in because the low Friday night is like 32. So it's supposed to be, I think, like 59 today, 60 something tomorrow, 72 Thursday, and then 30 something Friday, and then snowing on Saturday. That gives me a few days. Downside, our tap water, very cold. It's very cold right now. The ground is cold. So this isn't ideal. The plants aren't going to like it, but it's either this or just allow an infestation to take over, which I'm not going to do. I've done the beneficials thing, mealybug destroyers, predator mites. No. Nope. Doesn't work. Hasn't worked. Spent thousands and thousands of dollars on it. Documented the whole thing. There is an entire winter growing season, not last year, I believe it was the year before, where I was like, okay, let's do the mites. And I think I actually did that for 2 years. I think that was my second year. I just kind of, played around with it the year prior, so 3 years ago. Yeah, that wasn't effective. And the problem with that is once you have the beneficials out everywhere, you can't really spot spray because you might kill the beneficials too. So this isn't something I do often. I am very careful at how I use the chemicals. I only break out the harsh stuff like the imidacloprid when there is a lot going on. And I only do it, you can see in that paved area right there, and I try to make sure it's nice and diluted. I don't let it run through the container. It's unfortunate that I had that spillage on the ground because I had to rinse that down. That's not great, but I do have some charcoal, some carbon. I might throw that down. There's a puddle where it's piled up. I might throw that down. That'll help clean some of that up and find a more responsible way to dispose of it. But everything else that's over here is fine. There's, a few little mealybugs here and there, but I finally found ground zero. And it was him, the croton. The croton was ground zero for the mealybugs. I've been wondering, because I just keep finding them. I just keep spraying and spraying and spraying, and then they just show back up on things over here. I'm like, where are they coming from? Because usually you find like a nest where they're all emerging from. Well, I found it. So that's awesome. I don't think there's really anything left to do at this point other than some cleanup, and I'm going to keep spraying, but that's really neither here nor there. It's, you know, the last 8 minutes, but it's not now. I can't spray anymore. I'm not spraying while I'm doing the camera stuff. I have to be careful with these things. I don't want to spray them back at me. The other one I'm using, I'll show you. Well, now the only one I'm using is the systemic insect spray from, I almost said Proven Wares, from Bonide. This is the Imidacqua Pro Wood. It's pretty decent for the mealybugs. I've been using it for years when I saw mealybugs, so it's not amazing, but it's pretty dang good. So I'm going to use this today, and I guess I'm done with the Sayonara stuff because that's all gone now. Technically, it's not. This is the same thing as the Sayonara. So this one right here, that's the... Where'd it go? I need to be able to read to you the word that I'm not going to pronounce. Lambda Silothrin. Lambda Silothrin. That's the active and the Sayonara. Brain spinning right now trying to keep up with those things. Yeah, so this is really actually just routine. The mealybugs were a surprise. The plants that are on this side typically get pulled and sprayed in February regardless. Not usually a 4-day event because I don't usually have that many bugs on them, but found them and now we're spraying them. And I'm also not shocked by this because the plants didn't get a very heavy spray when I moved them in this fall like I usually do. I had started spraying just a little bit here and there in the weeks leading up to everything, and then I just started relying on systemics, which is usually a mistake. So I'm reaping my problems there, or I don't want to say laziness. I was doing a lot of work out here. I don't know, I just didn't want to. There's a lot of reasons. One, I hate the smell of the sprays. Two, they're just not great to use for the environment, so I prefer to only use them if I know that there's a problem, right? So, I don't know, this is just where I am with that. Everything else, they got a quick soap, an insecticidal soap that has a little bit of oil in it, and called it a day. And it's been pretty good up until now. In less than 3 months, everything here will be outside, so it doesn't really even matter. We've made it over the halfway point. I need to grab my snips. You need some fungicide. Yeah, that doesn't look great. And see, that need to be very careful with this spear. I think it was getting knocked around a whole bunch when I was moving plants around because it looked fine yesterday, and today it's going, I hate my life. I hate it, so I need to take care of him. Or her, my non-binary palm frond. Another one I can print. Oh, this is good. It's always good to get in here and open things up. That's one of the best things you can do for pest control is have things open, make sure the plants are healthy, and not smushed together in a spot that, well, there's actually pretty good airflow right there. I got a fan right there. But, you know, I guess that was just the perfect spot. So now I know, which is good, because I know that I'm going to need to rotate that plant, you know, give it a twist every week or so I'll be able to spray one side, because I can't spray when they're in here. There's a pond right there. So that's, you know, just is what it is. I'm going to do some pruning, some tidying, and, well, I guess that's it, right? I got a lot of work to do. I don't know why I made it seem as if I couldn't do some of these things while I'm talking. I probably should have done that to begin with. Would have sped things along. Those are Vinca from last year. There is still some green in them, but I would like to just cut them back in here to these nubs. Partially because it's getting harder in here to water. So since they're not growing and doing much, may as well give them a cutback, right? Especially when you have these pests moving around in here. Just makes sense to try and get in here and get that stuff cleaned out. I will have to sweep the floor up again, but that's not a big deal. It's just part of it. There's a rhodia, which, I'm going to say it's probably not alive, but there are some living roots on it. They're pretty dry, though. They've been outside the container. No. Oh, you were looking at my feet that whole time. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was unintentional. Here we go. Let's see, this rhodia. That one still has some life in it. A little bit of green down in there. Here, scoop out all of these leaves. That's where the critters like to hide. It's just an opportune time to get these things done while I have those other plants moved out of the way. This is going to be coming here and spraying the floor and everything again anyways. There's still some life in these. Kind of want to cut them out though. Let's cut them back. How about that? Just give them a nice prune. Whoa! Well, that was probably a terrifying angle. Yeah, these things happen. That's how one-handed gardening goes sometimes. Try and get this one too without dropping it. You see what I'm doing there? There we go. A nice big one cleared out of there. And then any fronds. This one I could have gotten to, but I just hadn't seen it. Have to twist the plants around. See the dead ones sometimes. Then, just having this garage door open, it makes it so much easier to see. It's not dark in here by any means, but it's something about the plant lights. It must be the amount of red that's in their spectrum. It can make it difficult sometimes for me to see the browning fronds, especially when they're tucked away inside like that. How are you guys doing? Spindles? Yeah. Get around and get that one off of there. So, there's another one right here. They're fully brown. I don't mind cutting them off. When they have green left on them, even if they're yellow, I try and leave them because the pump's still going to pull nutrients back into the plant. Usually, unless, you know, it's just dying. That's not normally the case, though. All right, we good? We good? All right, this is looking better. Okay, now I would like to come in here and get some of these smaller things pulled out. Have a look at them. See, I got a bunch of stuff I need to trim off the bottom of this Livistonia right here. Which I actually think that that's been reclassified to a Cerebus. I'm not sure. This bromeliad, all the bromeliads, this is pretty much what they look like for me during winter. Pretty junky. But then I take them outside and they flush out and they look pretty good during the summer. I can clean off a lot of that stuff that's down low. I also would like to not do this on camera. I'm going to drop it, but dump the center out over in the driveway. And I get those pulled out, and I can squeeze in here very, very carefully and get over here to the coconuts, which have these catharanthus growing from the bottoms that have been bugging me. They've been covered in mealybugs, and I haven't been able to spray them because they're right over the pond, so I would prefer to just cut those out. It's been very difficult to deal with that when it's right over the water like they are. The mandavillas that are in here, they didn't really thrive in this spot. I give it a cut back. There's still some life in it, but you know, there's just, I don't think I can get quite enough light down here to the base of the plants. If that makes sense, you know, the grow lights, they're all up top, so getting light down here to the bottom's been trickier, one could say. Is this just one piece? Yeah, let's cut that right there. If it wants to flush out, that'll have some better branching on it. Anyways, get off my clippers. There we go. I'm gonna take this down all the way. Really should probably just take the whole thing out. That's essentially what I'm doing here. And here, this is, I know it doesn't seem like it, but over there from the desk, it's too far. I can't quite reach it, so this is good. Very, very good. Get in here and get those things cleaned up and tidied. You can see there are mealybugs in here on this Freticassa, and that's probably not going to change. I'm able to look in here. Am I seeing spider mites or anything crazy going on in here? There's some webbing. Not sure if that's webbing from spiders or if it's webbing from spider mites. And I think I see mites in there. Right, that's fine. I was going to pull those down and give them a spray anyway, so not a big deal. Oh, this has been satisfying. I've been going through and pulling the brown guys off of that Dracaena over here. I still have a few left. This is so nice. So if you're wondering why haven't you done this, it's been too cold. I need to have that garage door open so I can go in and out and then blow everything out so I can sweep and spray, sanitize, and I do go through and do spot treatments. And I spot prune. Oh, there's a lot of mealybugs in here. All right. Well, that's going to be handled differently from everything else. These are shaped different. Mealybugs and aphids in there. Fine. Well, the areca palm is always a problem for shell. There's nothing new with that. Look at all this. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. That's just the areca palm. That's always drama every year. But this is the whole point. Get in here, get these guys off. When they pop off, you see the problem. So I actually did a video a couple weeks ago talking about what I do with the areca palm, and it's about once a week I get up on a ladder right here, a 12-foot ladder, and I get up there and I spray everything from up top. But clearly I've been missing over there and haven't been doing very well in that corner. And see, that looks fine. Look right here. This Dracaena flowered last year. Here it is. I can finally cut that off. It actually still had a little bit of plumpness to it. And when they do that, they split. And this is starting to get a really cool head on it. Does it have 2 or 3? I think there's 2, and there's a third one coming up on the other side. Those will come out. Oh, it's gonna look really cool in a few years. I got that inflorescence cut out of there. Pulled all the spindles. They're out here now. I pulled the foxtail. It has a few mealybugs on it. This is one of the reasons I don't grow foxtails anymore. Last year, it just, I don't know, I got bit by the foxtail bug. No, it was the clearance bug. That's what it was. Clearance pricing is what got me with these guys. They're just such a pain to get the mealybugs out of. But, you know, hey, that's all right. Can work with it. I just treat this. Oh, sorry, that was a snow shovel. I lay them down. Found that that's really just the best way. Because look at how much better you can see the bugs in there when it's upside down, or not upside down, on its side. They get a spray, make sure it's just saturated, flip them over, do it again, and hopefully all done. This guy got cleaned up, looking much, much better. That palm, I'll have a video on it someday. I filmed when I got it and potted it up, and I was like, you know, let's grow this for a while and then talk about it. It's now been 2 years. I don't have much to say other than I'm not really crazy about it. It's a problem child of a palm tree. So I need to clean up last year's growth out of these bromeliads, and I'm going to rotate this guy, clean the floor, spray, and put everything back in a few days. Not quite yet. Are you ready to come off? You are. Okay, good. That's been driving me crazy too. Oh, that's a good feeling. I went ahead, I sprayed everything, laid them down, rotated them. I didn't lay the croton, the big guys down. They don't need it. Tomorrow I will rotate them, and when I rotate them, you know, that just helps make sure we're getting all the angles that need to be gotten. I'm gonna sweep up, and well, I'm basically done over here, other than continuing to spray for the next few days. Oh no, not quite done yet. And that looks so much better. There's still some bits and pieces. I'll go through with the blower when I'm done and move a bunch of stuff from over there to over here, because the contractor's back. He's working on the floors and things inside, hence the piles. Well, those are frost cloths. Those all need to just be rebundled. Taking up to the attic place to get that done this weekend. I noticed something else that I hadn't been able to notice because, you know, I had plants right here. This Dracaena is getting way too much water. It's splattering out of the pond. I thought I had this pulled down further. Can I pull it down further? I don't know if that's really going to make much of a difference. I would actually rather this be more over by the coconuts than over here. So I need to raise this up higher. I think it's the only thing I can figure. I should just raise it up so it's not splattering. I'd have to raise that really high though. You know what? Just put a piece of plastic there. That'll do the trick too. No reason to overcomplicate things, right? Just need to get something in here. I'll extend that way. There we go. There's not a ton of splatter, but it's just enough. This is a Dracaena Reflex that they don't want to be this wet. At least not if it's, you know, fairly cool. It's not hot in here. I am shocked that I'm not seeing a lot of mealybugs on this one, which is good. They are here. I should spray this one too, but it's so wet. This one's going to get less spraying than the others. I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to take that over there and spray it because it's already so wet. So it's nice out. It's not that nice. Not warm. Cool weather, especially going from being in here where it's nice and warm and humid to out there where it's, you know, 60 and humid. I don't know. I feel like they would rot. Pull this guy back a smidge too. And just try and wedge that like that. Hopefully this will dry some more. And I think for tonight, I'll just hit this with my soap that I like to use, the insecticidal super soap. And that should be pretty good. There aren't a lot. It's just a few. It's just a few. Everything else that's out here, I have been able to, by everything else, I mean everything on that side, I just go through with a fine tooth comb. I don't know what that means. Fine tooth comb. I'm tedious. On the other side, the lighting's better and it's a lot more small plants, so I can pick them up, I can look at them, spin them around and everything. They just don't give me the trouble that I get from over here where it's just bigger plants. So it's really one of those things where ideally I could do it every month, give everything a nice pull and a spray if needed, and really clean up underneath. Having the floor clean, I also don't look clean, that's just old. I'm not replacing it until it's gone. That's styrofoam, right? So you want to use it for as long as possible. For the floor to be clean so that you can spray it. The critters, they move from place to place like that, even having them raised up off the ground. makes a very big difference. And considering all the plants in here, it's really just this corner right here that was a problem. I was just starting to see some signs of some spider mites on some of the plants over here, and I started spraying for that about a week ago. But I was doing all that spraying over here on this side because they were showing up on this alocasia, on this lutea. That's where I was seeing them, and also on the coconut. And this coconut usually has spider mites on it every year. It's just part of it. That's why I have a fan going right here. It's not blowing directly on the coconut, but I was like, well, if it blows near the coconut enough so that there's some movement, then that should help, right? Because spider mites, they don't like humidity and airflow. It's such crap. Not true. It's a fan blowing right by that thing. We got lots of humidity. Coconut palm gets spider mites every year. Manageable though. The spider mites don't bother me as much as mealybugs do, because I can just hit them with, moving forward here, this stuff right here, the insecticidal super soap. It's sticky, it's tacky. So it rests on the plant, and it does a good job. This one's pretty much empty. So that is going to be one of my last steps out here, is I'm going to put some of this in an actual sprayer, and that's going to be the last thing I use on those big guys before I move them in. I'm just going to have to, there's still a little bit left in here. It's going to bother me. And I certainly don't want to forget about these guys up here. This is that super soap. It's a fresh bottle. Let me get up there and make sure I really get in there. I might need to cut that frond off. It's going to be a problem. That's the thing. Tiniest little spots will live in there and just go crazy. Should turn that fan off. That was just blowing it all over me. Okay, that's better. Turn the light off. Made it harder to see, but also made it so that I didn't have the stuff spraying on me. That product, I think it's one of my favorites for the Pest and insecticidal super soap. At least for the mealybugs and spider mites. It's so good. And I think that's why the pest issue I'm doing with right now was really just localized to this spot right here, because those were really big plants that I hadn't been rotating. If I had just been rotating those like once a week, then it probably wouldn't have been an issue, because I would have had a site to spray. Maybe even every 2 weeks. That's probably what I'll be doing moving forward with those guys. After I get them moved back in here, I'll just have to remember to give them a turn every couple of weeks and really just pay very close attention. I'm going to be checking on them every day for sure, but it's just hard with those ruffly fronds to really get in and see everything. It's difficult. You can't see anything. Things are so backlit. And the same thing with this guy. It's just gotten so big that I think it would be smart to go ahead and just give it a twist every couple of weeks, and that should make it a lot easier to get the stuff out. To spot the bugs is what I mean. This is one of the worst leaves. I saved it so I could show it to you. It's in a pretty old Ziploc, but just look at that. Look at that. This is what I'd say maybe a quarter of that plant looked like. Good. That's done. Floor has been lightly sprayed down. I'm gonna do the tabletop and everything. I do a final spray. It's a very diluted bleach solution. That's all it is. Spray it down so pests and things. You know, I'm dropping bugs all over the place with those plants I'm moving out. Make it on the ground, so that way the ground's taken care of with that, just a mild bleach solution. Yeah. And now I have the space open because I see I have a light bulb I need to change. And I think I have a couple days here. I will probably end up hanging another light fixture right here, one of these stronger ones that's over there. I have another one, so you know, why not? Giving the plants more light, it's just gonna give them more vigor. That usually helps with pests too. This might seem like it's some kind of catastrophic situation. It's not. I do this every year. Okay, little twist. There we go. All right, that's better. Some more light over here. Yeah, I got the strip light over there for those, but these guys right here, they didn't have anything. I think that they could use it. Freaked out for a moment when I was over here, so I was like, oh no, I found another colony, but I didn't. It's just bird poop. That happens. Birds make it in here sometimes when they do. Or they poop on things. Birds being birds, you know? I don't remember what I was about to say. Oh, these guys, the Gossia palms. Pleasantly surprised. I've been saying for the last couple of years with these things that I was just like, thinking these things are probably spider mite magnets. But I didn't know, because I always sent them off to a greenhouse. They went off to boarding school for the winter time. And this year I was like, let's keep them inside. I need to be able to talk about how they grow inside and save the money from storing them also. Get a good idea of what they're doing. And they have just been freaking phenomenal. They don't have a ton going on foliage-wise, but they also never do. You see, you know, there's some brown tips in here. But these plants have been surrounded by spider mites mealybugs, and nothing. I was having a hard time believing it, and I was going through it. Like, is there really nothing? Nothing? I do remember at one point I had to spray down one of these, I thought with mealybugs, but maybe it was just a traveling mealybug. It wasn't over there to hang out. Missed a piece. Huh. That says a lot, right? It really, really does. When you look at the foliage on this, it just screams pest problems. This is exactly the type of frond, this really thin pinnae, like you have on a Majesty palm. They get all the spider mites in them, but nope, not these. Pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I am glad that I decided to put a piece of plastic there, because raising that up actually would have been a pain in the butt. I think that's going to make a tremendous difference in the health for that Dracaena over there. And then everything else, you know, well, they're all out there now in the driveway. Got dark out. So I closed that door. They will be fine. Just require the treatments. They've had a couple of sprays. Normally, what I've been talking about, where I was alternating the sprays, which I'm not doing because the one bottle leaked over the floor. I realized why that happened. I'll tell you about that in a minute. That's something you would normally do. Also, it's good to alternate your sprays, but you want to do it like however the recommended spray is. So if it's something you're supposed to do weekly, then every other week you switch it up, right? If it's every 2 weeks, then every other 2 weeks, you get it. But this warm weather is a gem, a rare gem this time of year, so I had to take advantage and was like, well, we'll just start with one and alternate and go through. This leaked because of me. It was my fault. I didn't have it in the off position here. You're supposed to have that turned. It's a two-handed thing where you push the nub and you do the thing like that. It's supposed to be, there we go, like that. Yeah, I think that was probably the problem. I just left it open and laying somewhat on its side there, so oops. Not thrilled about that, but now I know with all the other bottles to always make sure that is back into the off position. I typically always have them stored upright on a shelf. There's not a flat spot over there, and I just have them sitting on top of those frost clouds. Don't feel great about that having happened, but you know, it's done. Learned something in the process. I think we are done here. I still have plenty more to do, but that's the gist of it. You get it. I'm gonna be spraying for the next couple of days. I'm gonna bring the plants back on in here. I've only taken out the plants that really needed to be sprayed. The spindle palms, they aren't like covered in bugs, but they had some on them, and it just made sense to just take them out there, spray them off. The foxtail palms, same thing, because I told you about how hard it is to get the pests off of them. I've been thinking when I bring the plants back in here, I might leave the, or not leave, but I might move the foxtail palm elsewhere. It had never really been a plan of mine to keep the foxtail palm in here, not the one with the multiple trunks. I wanted that one in my entryway, but it just never made it there by the time the entryway, the floors were being redone in there. By the time that was ready to go, it was pretty cold out, and I just didn't want to have to do that. I wasn't going to try and take it through the house. It would have really upset the bird. It would have been very complicated and messy. The only problem is that one has bulged out the bottom of its container, so I would need to find a larger pot, and repotting it this time of year, not ideal. You know, maybe if I can find a nice big basket or something to set it inside of decorative looking something, that might be the way to go. It would only be inside for what? Just basically March and April, so 2 months max. Really, because like, you know, I'll probably move it out before we get to May. You just never know what the weather is going to be like, but chances are I'll move them out in May. Late April into May, that's what I meant. I got another fresh frond over here, just finished browning out that I can cut out. Yeah, now this side's going to need some attention because the last few days have really taken all my attention on this side. Why aren't any of my grow lights on up there? It's always something. I don't know. I guess I know what I'm working on now. Some problem solving with some lights. Hey, thanks for hanging out. This video took a heck of a turn. Heater keeps kicking on and off. Sorry about the noise. I really probably just should have cut things off at the last little plant haul thing. But I remembered like, oh, well, it's really nice out. I need to handle this. This is something that usually there's a couple of days, usually just one, sometimes 2 or 3 in February, where it's nice enough to pull the big guys out and spray them down and clean them up and everything. And it just hit me after I was showing you guys the plants, like, oh, it's the time to do that, to get them all moved out. So not all, but you know, a lot. Glad to have it done. Looking forward to pulling them back in, and they'll be back outside in, you know, 2.5 months max. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Hope everybody's doing well. Comment down below, especially if you know anything about that cactus. Let us know if you have any leads on it, any ideas what you think that one might be. Always love hearing from everybody. Do you guys have any rituals where you have to go through and clean things up about midway through. Things are looking good over here, by the way. We did the whole thing last week. Adjusted the shelves, adjusted the lights. The plants down below, they're appreciating it. Got my caladiums going, getting moving. Ready for summertime, almost. Ligularias, same deal. The orchids are still flowering. I do have them up to 100% now. I had to dial the lights down. So I'd move this shelf up. The basils, flush them back out. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. All right, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye.